Hi, this is Lori with Interior Design Community, and we are here for a special show. We're talking all about High Point Market, and we have a style spotter with us and our moderator for products and design, and obviously for trends, Jeanne Chung. Hi, Jeanne.
Hi, how are you doing?
And we also have our eDesign moderator, who is always on the leading edge of tech. She's checking out everything from a tech perspective. Sarah Daniele, did you have fun at High Point Market?
I did. This is my first time going, so it was a crazy experience, and I loved it, and I can't wait to go again in the spring.
And this was my fourth time, and like Sarah said, it was a crazy experience, but all good. So yeah, we have Sarah and I both have a lot to report because there was so much to see.
I can imagine. So let's start with like a comparison. Jeanne, you've been to lots of shows. What was this like in comparison to some of the other High Point markets?
Well, you know, it was a lot of the buzz leading up to the show. You know, the Twitter chats where they did a preview of the new, all the new introductions. That was really exciting. So that got everybody really pumped up to kind of make their list of where they wanted to go, and it made things for me a lot easier as well. So I don't know, Sarah, did you join the Twitter chat, or did you have a chance to look at all the Pinterest boards of all the new introductions before you went?
I actually didn't, and I didn't on purpose because I figured I would just go in with a complete clean slate and experience it all firsthand. So I didn't do that before going.
But from now, you're going back to why this market was a lot different than the previous markets that I've been to. That was one of the things, and I don't know, there's just like I said, there's a huge buzz in the air about High Point. It's, you know, the biggest furniture market in the world at 11.5 million square feet of show space. It's and it's only getting bigger, and better too. So that's really exciting.
Now, Sarah, you know, this is your first time at market, so you've been to other shows though, and this was probably something a little bit different. You probably were a little bit surprised about some of the things that you see. What would you say is different from some of the shows you've been to in the past?
I think the thing I found most surprising was getting into the showrooms. Like, I didn't understand. So I mostly do, when I do my own design, I do kitchen and bathrooms typically. And so I found it a little bit strange how not all showrooms were designer friendly, and, you know, booking appointments in advance and having an escort. That was all new to me because when I've gone to shows in the past, it was like, come in, come in, come in. Now, not all the showrooms were like that, but that was definitely a bit of a shock for me that I had to either make an appointment or wait for an escort. But to that point, when we did have an escort from either the PR or the marketing, or same thing, I guess, they were so passionate about their product. So getting that guided tour was a great experience. You really got to learn about the inspiration behind the new products, the details, things that you may have overlooked otherwise if you didn't have somebody guiding you through the showroom.
Right. I mean, that's a huge difference, I think. I mean, when you think about going to KBIS or some of the other trade shows, and how they have to be a little bit protective about the showrooms because they want to make sure that the products are photographed, you know, and go into their portfolios before you know, bloggers or interior designers are sharing it online, right?
Well, you know, it's because I did go to a couple of showrooms, and having a press pass and being a style spotter, they still did not want me to take photographs, which was surprising to me. They were just afraid that these images would get into the wrong hands and they would, you know, be replicated in China for half the cost, I guess. But, you know, I did talk to people, and they're trying to bring those barriers down to make it more accessible. And
I would think they have to. I mean, if people are you know, if they want to copy you, they will.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I mean,
you're right, they will.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so important for these brands to, kind of get their message out there, and so that the consumer knows they're buying into a brand, they're buying into quality. There's a reason why they buy the original and not the copy. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Are you thinking the same thing?
I would think that that's 100% true. I mean, you have the original, what the original comes with. Like, think about it in terms of something everybody knows about, like knockoff handbags. You can go get a gorgeous Birkin, if you're going to be able to spend that kind of money on a purse, or you can go down to Chinatown in New York City and pick up a knockoff. They're totally different animals.
Exactly.
I also think there's value to know the story behind the originals, right?
Right.
So, right, if you go in and you get to learn about a particular series, what the inspiration was, who the original designer was, then you gain value, right? And you can respect it. Versus, if we share that story with our community and our members, then people will perhaps value the product more. Versus if someone's going to knock it off, they're going to. And you're more likely to stumble across a knockoff and not even know versus the original, right? Like, you may not have that appreciation if you didn't know where it came from. So having Jeanne's style spot and pin it and write about it will allow her readers to know how great it is.
Yep, absolutely.
Brands, they would never know the brand anyway, so they couldn't tell a knockoff from the original unless they know the brand. And part of that is you have this trade show, you have a captive audience, you have people who want to write about it, and now it's time to actually talk about your story, about why your products are so fantastic. You've spent all the money on the trade show, why not get the press?
Absolutely. I believe with you. I agree with you 100%.
Now, Sarah, were you surprised with the size of High Point?
Yes. Yeah,
it's massive, right?
I was at Vegas Market in July, so I had an idea of how big it was, and there's so much walking.
Yes, it is massive, and it's spread out.
Yeah.
It's like its own Vegas. It's like a mini Vegas, and it's instead of like a trade show in one convention center. Yeah. It's several different buildings.
Well, there are 180 buildings total. That's what I read. 180 buildings, and like I said earlier, 11.5 million square feet of show space. And there are a few big buildings that have a lot of showrooms clustered together, and the temporary space also is really huge. But there are some showrooms that you do have to venture out quite a bit to get to.
Right.
And they do have private shuttle buses to get you there. But you have to plan. If you're going to go to High Point to make the most of your time there, you're going to have to plan it out ahead of time.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
bet. Yeah.
I didn't. I thought I would go and just attend all the events and see what I wanted to see. After day one with you, Jeannie, I was planning the next 4 days. I had a list of where to go, where they were located, the quickest routes, when am I going to eat? Because it was just, if you didn't do that, you would be lost and spend way too much time.
Well, you know that eating for me was, Skittles here, a Hershey bar there, in the showrooms, because I had no time.
Yeah.
There was so much to see, and I figured if I stopped to eat, I'd lose that momentum.
So let's talk trends, okay? So you were there. You saw some fantastic products. I know you've already written a great blog post about it, which everyone should check out at cozystylechic.com, because her trends post is fantastic. But tell us, let's start with colors. What colors were you seeing? Both of you.
I'm still seeing a lot of color, but it is deeper, deeper, richer tones, reds, blood red, with a little bit of a hint of purple. yellows like citrine, saffron, mustard, deep, deep reds. You know, last season on the runway we saw a lot of the bright saturated yellows, but now this is taking it a step further. And then teal as well. We're seeing a lot of teal mixed in with chocolate brown and gray. Last season we saw a lot of turquoise, and again, like the yellow, it's getting a little bit deeper and richer.
More like
yes.
Jewel tone. You're talking
jewel tones, yes, definitely
okay.
jewel, but deep jewel tones.
Deep, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very saturated. We saw definitely saw some indigo paired with, you know, the metals. A lot of metal this year. So coppers, golds. That was pretty prominent.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw a bunch of black too. Like again, the colors were really dark.
Yes, you know, the metals, they're doing a lot of black and steel as well.
Yeah, right.
So they're playing a lot with metal finishes, which is interesting. I'm loving what I see.
And emerald was still around. Saw a lot of emerald in accents in the furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Artwork, textiles. We saw it a lot in the Antique and Design Center, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of vignettes, like whole rooms set up with a ton of emerald. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also coming from, you know, the whole malachite trend.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
So that's where that emerald's coming from. So.
Sure. Now, so let's talk materials as far as this, you know, this textiles. Were you seeing that same richness brought into the textiles? Very heavy, you know, heavier, velvety sort of textiles, or are they lighter? What are you seeing there?
I was definitely seeing a lot of velvets. You know, we've been seeing a lot of velvets. Yeah, a lot of velvet.
Yeah, with
embossed or just straight velvet?
You know, quilted velvet, tufted velvet. I didn't see any. I'm trying to think. Not so much cut velvet, just, you know, plain velvet.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
And then a lot of large-scale patterns on the furniture. Still seeing that. But not in the velvet.
Yeah, not in velvet.
I think the large-scale patterns are going to be here to stay. And I wondered if you both felt a little bit of and I'm just watching some of the things that I'm seeing, that the digital and printing industry is really kind of, you know, helping these trends move faster. You can have everything, you know, textiles you could have printed in many different ways in a manufacturing process, and it would be huge runs for people. And now when they are able to do smaller runs of printing, that, you know, they can move with the trends faster. So
you know, yeah, you're absolutely right, because a lot of these trends are coming from the runways. And I mean, just think, in September they had the spring 2015 runways, and all those patterns that you're seeing, all those big statement florals, you're seeing them on textiles, you're seeing them on wallpapers, you're seeing them. And way back when you had to screen print everything, it was very time consuming, so the lead time was a lot longer. But now with digital printing, it's going quick.
Quick, yeah. And I even saw some digitally printed fabrics, like really, the pillows with photographs on them, and canvases that you could tell were giclées, things like that. It was really interesting to see that much of it at High Point Market.
Yep, there was a lot. I'm telling you, wallpaper, it's going to be here for a while.
Well, I love hearing that from customers as well. So
yeah, there you go.
And I'm also, I did work in the fine art printing industry, and I'm seeing tons and tons of gallery walls. You seeing the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like almost every picture was a gallery wall.
Yeah, you know, and if it wasn't a gallery wall, it was a wallpaper that was made to look like a gallery wall.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
I definitely took some pictures of gallery walls.
Yeah.
There were some fantastic installations. Like at Yarra Lane had some. I posted the one of all the foxes.
Yes.
A lot of animals.
Exactly.
I just was so drawn into it. I moved some of their display out of the way, their signs, so I could take pictures. And Row had some really nice setups as well. Looking more to the millennials, like they were setting up some younger transitional spaces. Yeah, there's definitely some beautiful.
Well, and also at 214 Modern on is it on Kivit? I think it's on Kivit. But it's a vintage, you know, they specialize in vintage antiques, and all of their vintage paintings and artwork that they had displayed on a gallery wall was amazing. You know, all the little pops of color and the brass, and really cool.
I love it. I mean, I think it's obviously a huge trend, but I know people are really nervous about it because, you know, laying them out and you know, sometimes they can look, you know, if you don't do them well, where the pictures kind of move, they end up looking kind of.
Yeah, there's an art behind setting up.
There's a art about like how you display them, you know.
Well, I always tell people, you take the frame and then you trace it onto brown butcher paper. You cut them out, and then you put those, you know, you arrange those pieces of paper on the wall, and you can move them around.
And when you hang them, you have to hang them with like really nice picture hangers so that they're not moving on the wall. Because I mean, you can get a few that, you know, just kind of fall off center, and then the whole thing looks like a mess, I think.
Oh yeah.
Without paying attention.
No,
to
I
that
agree with
stuff.
you. If there's nothing worse than a crooked picture frame.
Oh. OCD.
Yes, that would be me.
So
I admit it.
let's talk. We talked fabrics, but let's get more into upholstery. How about the lines of upholstery? Are you still seeing a lot of tufted furniture, or are you seeing more streamlined? Is there what are you seeing for that?
I'm seeing a different kind of tufting. There's a lot of I guess what they would call it channel tufting. You know, I think we're used to the old English style tufting with the buttons, but now we're moving to, I guess, the mid-century modern influence with the channel tufting. I saw tufted metal, which was really interesting, at Decca Home. It was Dakota Jackson's new collection for Decca Home. So he used tufted metal along with exotic rosewood, which is really cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
I love when people are a little bit more daring with the metals, because you know, it can be something that really makes a huge difference, and sometimes it's forgotten.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sick of just the straight metal finishes. That's why seeing all these, you know, the blackened steel, the oxidized brass, those unusual finishes definitely they caught my eye. You know, there was a little bit of copper being introduced here and there. I think last time that I spoke about Spring Market, I was surprised that I didn't see any copper, having just come back from New York and seeing a ton of copper. But, you know, High Point, we're catering to the 50 states as a whole, not just New York or LA. So it takes a while for those trends to get to market here.
Right, and for the mainstream consumer.
Mainstream consumer, exactly. Yeah.
So we're talking about these materials. Let's go into product a little bit. Which products were really just like slam dunk, loved them? You definitely would spec them for a client.
Well, there are things that I would spec for a client, and there are things that were definite showstoppers that I might spec for a special kind of client, but may not appeal to everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let's.
So the one thing that was a huge showstopper was the Maryland acrylic chair from Global Views. I posted it on the Google Plus Interior Design page.
I saw
it. You saw it? Yeah, very cool. It's a Louis XVI chair. It's solid acrylic. And it has a tufted velvet cushion that comes in a variety of really deep colors, like a sapphire blue, ruby red, a moss green, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, like a citrine gold. So really rich, regal colors. But that was a really big standout, and everybody I talked to was talking it up. That was like the chair. Like at the 2 panels that I spoke on, everybody had mentioned that was the chair to keep an eye on. Wouldn't you agree, Sarah? You saw that, right?
Yeah, it was spoken about many times. So you guys were kind of competitive because who spotted it first? It was
Gary Inman. His spotted it first.
So then you guys were kind of jealous. It was funny listening. Like everybody wanted to spot it.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, I'm not competitive that way.
Fantastic. There's enough products for everybody because there's so many fantastic things.
I mean, I came a day late, so I knew that I was going to have to work a little bit harder and like venture into each showroom and look at what was in back. But it was all good. But yeah, that was definitely a standout. And the reason why is because it was a mixing of, a Louis XVI chair that you would normally associate in dark wood, but here it was in a new material.
Yeah,
so,
I mean that's the dream of being able to mix modern and antique. I mean, I think that a lot of people like to live in that spot where you have this sense of history, but you also have something fresh.
Yes,
like grandmothers,
And that's exactly what it was. It's something that we haven't seen before. I mean, of course, we've seen the Philippe Starck ghost chair, which was an interpretation of the Louis XVI chair, but this was different, because you could see all the fluting and all those elements that you normally associate with that time period, and then just done in a different. None of those lines were simplified. It was just simply done in a different material.
I love that. Just love that. So tell us more. What other products did you just love?
So I love, Jeannie, if I can jump in.
Absolutely.
Mirth Studio and those hand painted wood floor tiles.
Yes, those are very awesome. And see, actually, those, from what I gathered, they're digitally printed, engineered wood, and they look like they're hand painted.
Except for so I went and spoke with her. She starts off hand painting the original.
Yes.
So she comes up with the design and then digitally prints it over and over again, and it is engineered. It's glorious. They are so beautiful.
Yep.
I love that. And this is another way that I'm seeing it everywhere. The digital printing is really like so many services. It's crazy.
And that product can also be used on stair risers, so that was really interesting. So think of when we see the wallpapered stair riser, it's similar look to that, but it's made out of wood already, right?
Yeah.
It's an actual stair riser. You can order, so if you want to add a bit of color, a bit of excitement into your stair risers, this is the way to do it.
And
it's permanent.
And from what Sally, I guess, is the owner and designer there at Mirth Studio, she said that they're extremely durable and they can last, I think, 15 years at least, because they are just coated, several times.
Yes.
Well,
the quality of the prints are changing too. I mean, I come from that industry, so I know that the inks themselves are lasting so much longer and are so much more durable now than they were, that you're able to do these kinds of things. I even saw, I think a year ago, Formica was doing it for countertops, totally digitally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing.
You know what I mean? You're going to be using that.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, so amazing.
And then she also said that she's making them for dance floors and for weddings, and people are renting them out. Can you imagine having a cool dance floor like that for a wedding?
Like with your monogram or something? That would be cute. That'd be adorable.
Yeah, there's just so many options with them. She was talking about, inlays, I think, in tables. There's just cool. And I think what I love the most is that they were originally hand-drawn, so when they're reproduced, they have that feel. Like, even though they're digitally printed, you'd have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, it feels loose. It doesn't feel like a print, right? Like, it's...
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. They have a handmade quality to it.
I love that.
So unless you get up really close, you can't tell that they're printed.
Right.
Not at all.
You need to pull out your loop.
Yep, exactly.
So you've got wood tiles. You've got this fantastic chair. What are some of the other points that you thought were just amazing different finds?
Do you want to go ahead, Sarah?
I was thinking of the conversation sofa in the green leather. Do you remember
at Wesley Hall? The one at Wesley Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds.
Love that. I was speaking with their PR rep, and she was saying how what's so unique about it is she saw it being used at one of their parties. So you had two people sitting on the front and one person sitting on the back and just having a conversation. Like, it was such a great piece of furniture to show, reimagine something that we've seen the same for so long. Like, to have it has a big cutout in it. If you haven't seen it, Lori, like a big V cutout in the back. It's incredible. But still practical. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not just totally out there, it's still relatable. So it does have, some clean lines so that people can understand it. Sometimes when they're like really, organic, sinuous lines, it's hard to incorporate into a room. But having the lines that particular sofa had was a really easy fit into any room.
That sounds fantastic. Now we don't have a whole lot more time, but I wanted to talk to you really quick about events. What were some of the events that you just thought were the best events to go to?
Oh, wow. There were a lot, and it was...
That's always the mix, right? Because High Point Market, you're there to see the furniture, and there's so much to see, and you really can't cover all of that. But on top of it, there are all these amazing speakers and classes and fantastic events for designers to go to. So it's always such a struggle to figure out what you're going to do. I'm sure you missed a ton, and I'm sure you got to go to some.
Well, Sarah, now what events did you go to? Were there any seminars or educational events that you went to?
Yeah, I did the millennials versus boomer discussion about designing for these two demographics. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I did that one too. It was very cool.
That was good to see some of the similarities, but I mean, there were some, transitional pieces, dual function, want them quick, want them custom. The millennials are really talking about integrating technology into the furniture itself. So that's which we know is a trend that's only going to become a staple, right? We saw that integrated lighting in furniture now. The countertops from LG that charge your phone. I
think that's huge. Soon those are going to be integrated into bedside tables so that you can, right? And you can just put your phone on there and, you know, have it next to you when you go to bed, and it's charging.
I love it. And end table, you know, end tables, coffee tables. I mean, if you think of any other surface that you just throw your phone on, you want it to be charging.
Yep. No more cords.
That discussion was really good, really informative. I think what other ones I went to that you didn't go to, because we did some of the same ones. What was your favorite party? How's that?
Well, first of all, I wanted to mention the talk that our own Leslie Carruthers gave.
Oh, yeah.
About technology, and that was really interesting. I particularly liked her segment on augmented reality and where that's taking us, because I've been seeing a lot of that.
Sure.
You're familiar with augmented reality, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I saw something demonstrated right before I went to High Point at West Edge Design Fair here in LA, and it was really cool. You know, they had an iPad. They took a picture of the room, and suddenly they were putting furniture into that room and moving it around as we were just watching it on the iPad. And we're going to be able, actually we can do it now, with you know, downloading their apps, and right now they're catering to manufacturers. You know, like IKEA, they have that for their for the consumer to play around with.
Sure.
But now they are also catering to designers. So what you can do is, if you're putting together drawings for a client, you can give them specs and maybe photographs of some furniture that you're using, and they'll model it for you, and then you can build your library and then just put it in like that. Switch out the wood colors, you can switch out the upholstery, and kind of give your client a tour of their house and move things around right there in real time.
That's amazing.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So
I know that we have James Dearsley. He's here on Google+. He is even, you know, he's in the real estate market, but also talks at events like Decorex. He's from London, and he talks about virtual reality as well. You know, being able to actually, like, you know, do a wearable that you can, you know, look around and seeing your home decorated. Like, you can imagine, like, he uses it for the real estate market, you know, that they can do virtual reality, like tours of spaces, and that you can imagine where that is going to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to change so much in the next 10 years.
Leslie's talk also touched on the 3D printing and how it's going to affect the furniture and accessory market.
Yes.
And love it. You know, it's a really cool shift. You know, if you
but at the same time, you know, I know a lot of the 3D printers, and I can tell you, they are the people who make the commercial stuff. It takes a long time, and they still do have errors and time spent to, I mean, if you're manufacturing a product that, you know, that will be a one-off, it's obviously going to be lower cost to do things like that. But it's going to be a while before that really, in my opinion, before that really can take off, because the process of 3D printing just takes a very, very long time.
Yes.
And with the error rate, you know, you're not getting perfect, you know, finished goods at the end always, you know.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's the start of great things to come.
Sure.
And it eventually will get there. Right now, it's still in its infancy.
I'm thinking, what do you think about the idea of, Jeannie, if you wanted to design a lamp, right? Like, could outsource, you come up with a sketch, outsource somebody to draw the model, outsource it to then be printed, right? Just to do a prototype, right?
Yes. Prototyping, it's huge. I mean, I already know brands.
That's huge,
who use it for prototyping.
Yeah, I just think that'd be it's really great from that perspective, you know?
Oh, huge. It's just that I've seen it for some of the shows that you have, 3D printed accessories, and those things will always come at a premium because of how long it takes to make them. It just does. It's not as easy as you think about it, like your desktop printer and it coming off in seconds, and 3D printing sometimes can take a month to make something.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, but that's really interesting that they were even talking about that at High Point. You wouldn't even think that. I mean, I've seen that at cutting edge shows, but not really necessarily mainstream. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, High Point really is the place to be because, not only do you get these amazing seminars, educational seminars to keep you up to date with what's going on in terms of technology. I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's product, there are parties, there are, educational events.
Is it your favorite trade show? I mean, you go to lots, so.
It is, it takes a lot out of me just because it's a full, 6 days there, and there's so much walking and everything's spread out. But yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, I would
it's definitely
up
there.
Think, Sarah, did you, in your comparison that you have with shows, is it now on the top of your list?
It's definitely on the top of my list.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. And again, my background, when I do my own design work, it's more hard finishes. So to go in there and be completely wowed by all these lovely soft finishes, the lighting, the accessories, it was unbelievable. The antiques, the retro pieces, it was just,
Yeah. And the thing is, the showrooms just really, everything's merchandised impeccably. They there's nothing that's left undone. Everything, they've I see a lot of showrooms are partnering up with other manufacturers. And so a showroom that may specialize in upholstery partners up with case goods, wall art, lighting, and then they put together a whole, entirely finished, these finished vignettes. So that's really fun to see, and that's why there's so many people just snapping up pictures, because they're not just products in a room. They're, right?
If you walked in, you felt like I could live here, right?
Yes. And styled. I mean, sometimes with like lifestyle, you see a pair of shoes, or you see something that feels like it could be a magazine shot.
Yeah. And that's, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say the brand, they're so evident what their brand is between each showroom, right? So from, let's say, thinking like C.R. Lane to like Christopher Guy, like the difference in the showrooms and how they were merchandised and who's going to live there and who's going to buy it, right? Like, there was no mistaking, you can tell the difference in your market or what the style is. And that was impressive, You can really tell that they've been merchandised appropriately.
And I'm telling you, the retailers should really take note of what they're seeing at High Point, because with so much going on the internet and a lot of business shifting towards online sales, in order for a brick and mortar store to really make it, they need to make their showrooms a destination, an experience.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because,
I think you're 100% right on that.
Yeah.
From the look and feel down to the smell, like everything needs
to. And like how the person feels, even, are you offering them a cocktail or something, making it that a kind of luxury experience for consumers, because it's just more convenient to buy online. It just is. But people do make those mistakes when they buy online too. The size, or usually it's dimension, the color wrong, the size wrong. Usually it's I hate to say, but it's a consumer's issue because they didn't read the
Yeah.
properly. But it doesn't mean that there isn't a return process in that. And so going to these showrooms, going to furniture stores, and going to small boutiques, taking that note to have them styled, and maybe even working with your designer to do it properly.
Yeah.
Would make a huge difference.
Yep, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Love that idea.
I can't tell you if I had $1 for every time a client said, "Ooh, I bought this on, a flash sale, and I thought it would work, but I didn't realize that it was, the scale was too large or the scale was too small."
Right. We just watched. It was like my kids love that show, The Middle. And she was buying a table, like from Craigslist, and she ends up getting it, and it's a doll table. She's like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. It's oak." And she gets it, and it's a doll table. And that's the thing. If you don't read the directions.
Yeah. Oh, it's 6 inches. It's not 6 feet. Right?
That little inch. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's so true. And I think, color is always a tough thing with, monitors, but size, you can just read.
Yeah. That's why retailers, if you're out there and you're listening, really, you need to transform your spaces into an experience where the consumer comes in and feels special.
Right, and teach the consumer, because I would think, I even know in having furniture delivered, sometimes the movers always are saying that their number one problem is getting the furniture inside the house, because sometimes it just clearly just does not fit inside the home. So it's just knowing, if you are the retail, if you are a brick and mortar, go that extra mile to really walk the consumer through that process of knowing what will fit into their space too, you know?
Well, and that's why whenever I sketch, I always have to put everything into 3D, because on a floor plan, it looks like it goes there, but then you have to consider the height and the volume that piece of furniture takes up.
Even the door, like how is it going to get into how is it going to get into the house? I mean, that happens.
Anytime I work with a client and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to pay for 3D," I'm like, "Yes, you do. Like, it's a part of the package. It's happening." You can't visualize in 2D. It just
Well, thank you both so much for coming. I really appreciate your insight, because it's such great advice to anyone who didn't make it to High Point Market, and for all of those people who want to go next month. Next season, which is the springtime, we are going again. So definitely get in touch with the interior design community, because we want to know, meet up with you. We want to do some stuff with our community as we hit these shows. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, Jeannie. Bye, Sarah.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic. Bye, everyone. And always visit us on interiordesigncommunity.com and always on Google+. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.